We got Royals talk coming up. There's a lot of little things happening here. Major shift in Major League Baseball with the record keepings and statistic watching. Nobody better to bring in for something like that than our guy Paul Savage, who is our resident historian. The Negro Leagues are going to be incorporated now into Major League Baseball statistics, which is really, really interesting. It should make for a lot of good discussion, a lot of players maybe we don't know about being celebrated in different ways. So we're looking forward to that. Bronny James has a decision. We can go through that a little bit as well. Another video of the Scotty Scheffler situation has surfaced. It is a wild all over the place day. Of course, we'll start to talk about the Royals yesterday just a little bit as they now have their backs against the wall just a little bit in that series against the Twins. We can get into it all. You can get in touch with us, of course, on the IHOP hotline, 869-1240. You can get in touch with us by leaving your comments on our video stream, which you'll find on Facebook, on YouTube, on X. You can listen to us live, even when you're not in your car at kfhradio.com. Lots of different ways to take in the show. Paul, my voice is slowly coming back. I lost it over the weekend. We're getting there, so forgive it if it sounds a little ragged today. How are you, big guy?
I am great. It's good to be here. It's good to be in the studio. Got Max. Hey, how good can this be? You know, we love Jad. We love Jad. But I got Max in today. Are you kidding me? How good is that? How sweet is my day going to be with Max the Brain? Max the Brain is what I call him. But anyway, it's good to be in. I missed you last week, and Tommy's duties did not take him away, and that's okay. You know, I'm here for you two guys whenever you need me. That's all I can tell you.
Yeah, it is good to have you, Paul. I think the timing is very fortuitous for us on the Negro League's decision yesterday. So we'll get into that in just a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, it's interesting. It's really interesting, and I know you're well versed in all of that. You're a museum curator yourself, so
sure.
We'll get your thoughts on that. Let's start with the Royals, Paul. It was kind of cool. Simeon Woods Richardson was on the mound for the Twins last night. Former Wind Surge player, came over in a trade, joined the Wind Surge, had a nice year in 22, kind of bounced up and down, and he's off to a great start. Still, only one start this season. I believe he's 7 out of his 8 starts. He's allowed 2 or fewer runs. He was fine last night, just 5 innings pitched, but the Royals just couldn't get it done offensively. And they fall again here, 4-2. That's a 3-game losing streak. More importantly, it's 2 straight losses to the Twins, who you don't want to let into the race, who are getting hot at the right time. It was against Cole Reagans, which you don't like if you're the Royals. And now, you're facing a series loss if you can't take the next 2. And, it's early in the year, but it's good to have this kind of pressure, I think, Paul. It's fun to have this kind of pressure early in a baseball season.
Well, and the Royals are such an interesting team because, I looked as of this morning's stats. I looked this morning and the Royals, there's only 4 teams that have more wins than the Royals. In all of baseball, only 4. And, we talked, in the last month here and there, we've talked about, just how many games over 500 the Royals are. And, at one point when it was 6 or 7 games over 500, I thought to myself, well, something that, is going to happen. They'll slide back a little bit. No. I'm totally wrong. They're increasing the number of wins over 500. They're expanding that. And boy, that bodes well. Even after the 2-game slide to the Twins. And you are right about one thing with the Twins, and that is don't let the Twins back in. They're only coming. 4 games behind in the win column behind the Royals. You don't want to let the Twins get hot and, catch up and start playing with that lead in the in that division. You just can't do that. You don't want to do that. So, I'd like to see the Royals win at least this afternoon. It's there's a good chance they can. It looks like it's going to be an interesting series.
Today.
It's an important series
today.
It's an important series though today. An important game today in this series. Get a victory. You can't let the Twins sweep.
Yeah, it's a 6:40 start tonight. It is Lugo.
Yeah.
Reagans couldn't get it done last night. You hoped he'd stop the bleeding, but Lugo goes tonight. And Reagans was, yesterday was not certainly his best start as he comes off of a performance where he strikes out 12 batters. You didn't get that again from Reagans. He gave up 9 hits. He did limit it to 3 runs in 5 innings, which is not good. But he let 10 base runners in 5 innings. That is a problem. And the Twins could have made that much worse. They did a nice job of sort of escaping it a little bit, but they couldn't get enough offense mustered. And Minnesota is going to be in this, Paul. Like they're the team most predicted to win this division. They have not been out to the hot starts to match Cleveland and Kansas City, but they're right there. They're right there in it. And I think their chances of, being there and in the mix are high. And so if you're the Royals now, you got to stop this bleeding. You don't want to lose. You certainly don't want to lose 4 of 4, but you definitely don't even want to lose 3 of 4. And it starts with Lugo. And, we've called them co-aces with Lugo and Reagans. Reagans is sort of this ace that when he's on, he's as good as anybody. But Lugo's been the ace. Lugo's the guy who is, leading probably the way right now in the American League in the Cy Young. His consistency has been remarkable. And that's what you need your ace to do. And he has been their ace. And he's got to give him that kind of performance again. Every start he's made, he's gone at least 5 innings. He's only allowed more than 3 or more runs in 2 of his 11, I believe it is, starts. I mean, he's just been consistent. And they need him to be consistent again tonight.
Right.
And they need their big bats to step up and, get some big hits in this series. And there is some urgency here with Minnesota. I would predict to you, Paul, it is so likely that at the end of this season, we will see Minnesota right there with the Royals and probably the Guardians. And you can, at that point, as it's very tight, look back to series that you see, in late May as critical series. You got to remember, Kansas City hasn't even played Cleveland yet. You're not going to get unbalanced schedules like you used to. It's not like you just get a billion games against the Twins. You've got to take advantage of the ones you get. And right now they have an opportunity here. And it's gone for, I say an opportunity. It's gone from an opportunity to they've got to get something done to avoid losing this series. I think if they split this series, we'll feel fine, right? Like it's a wash. It's on the road.
Well,
it's on the road. You would have liked, because the pitching lined up for them in this series, you would have liked for it to been better than a split. But at this point, you're just praying for a split.
Well, you don't have any options. That's as good as it can get. It's going to be a split.
Right.
And of course, we're starting to understand that the Royals will play as well as Bobby Witt Jr. plays. And of course, last night he didn't have a hit. Wasn't outstanding. Two strikeouts, no hits. I mean, it was a tough game for Bobby Witt Jr. And we're starting to think about figure this out. Bobby Witt Jr. is the cog that makes this wheel turn, and we're starting to figure that out. Bobby Witt Jr. plays well. The Royals have a real chance of being a really good baseball team. How's that for a news flash? I don't think I'm breaking any news, but by golly,
he and Perez need to be better than 1 for 8 in a game.
And Perez does as well. But Bobby Witt Jr., he's the gasoline for this engine, as I would put it. So I'm just saying that, you get him back on track. He has a game where he gets a couple of hits, drives in a run or two. That sparks things. It makes things different. I mean, and it's not like the Royals got blown out last night, for guys' sakes. They lost 4-2. I mean, that's, they only had 5 hits, still scored 2 runs with 5 hits. And it's not.
They were not good with runners in scoring position.
But it's
neither
not,
team was.
Well, that's right. But I mean, it's not like they're not getting blown. There is hope for this team. I can't believe
fine.
This is just.
They're fine. You just look.
But you understand where I'm coming from, don't you? You got it. Me and a lot of other Royals fans. Go ahead.
We anticipate they're going to be there. These games against your division competitor are important.
Right.
The most concerning thing that came out of last night's game is Vinny Pasquantino left the game in the 3rd inning. So it's called a lower left leg contusion. I don't know what that means.
The bruise.
But he tried to well, it's what it is, but I don't know how you bruise your leg extending to whatever it is. But he tried to make a catch on a throw that went high. He's considered day to day, but he came out of the game. So we'll pay close attention to that. I don't think there's a lot of wiggle room for injury. And that's something,
That's
we
true.
talk about the trade deadline and all of these things for the Royals. The one thing that has plagued a lot of teams across Major League Baseball this year, and not the Royals, are injuries. And so as we talk about what this team needs to do to position itself, if it is for real, which we all think it clearly is for real, then these kinds of things have to be considered. What if Pasquantino misses time? Right? Like now that's a big hole in a lineup that is, I won't call it thin, but I think the margin for error is small, right? You don't have a lot of margin for error. You have some elite level bats, and then there isn't a lot of depth there. So if you lose Pasquantino, you're going to be hurting. So we'll see. We'll watch his health closely. His health has been a concern over the last couple of years, and that's something we've got to pay attention to as they get into a position now where they need to think about these things and what they'll do to add to this team. I mean, more and more every day, it's like they're going to need to add a bat. They're going to need to add a bat. They got Carlos Hernandez back in the bullpen. He gave up a run last night. Let's see what he does long term. Maybe he could be a missing bullpen piece. Maybe some of these starters who haven't panned out as starters can come in and give them a spark. Maybe the bullpen piece is there. I don't think the extra bat they need or two are there, and they're going to need to go get them. They're especially going to need to go get them if Vinny Pasquantino misses any time. So we'll watch that closely as well. But in the more immediate future, you don't have Pasquantino, probably. If he left the game last night and didn't come back, I mean, I hope he comes back tonight, but I think it's safe to assume right now that maybe he misses another game or two. And that's where the urgency is to beat the Twins. So we'll see. And hopefully Pasquantino doesn't miss a lot of time, because after this series, Paul, pretty quickly, starting next week, which would be next Tuesday after a day off, they got to go to Cleveland and play the Guardians for the first time.
Right.
So we'll watch Pasquantino closely and hope that he doesn't miss significant time, because they finally get to play Cleveland, and you'd hate to have him miss any of those games. So another storyline to watch there with Kansas City for sure.
Absolutely.
Paul, like it just amplifies to me the urgency of adding to this lineup.
Well, there's right. And you're right, partly because you made a comment earlier in this segment where there's little room for injury. I mean, you have a key injury here, key injury there, and that's a hole to fill. That's a hole that may not be filled. So you're exactly right there. And that's so important. We'll see how that goes. And before we get out of this segment, I got to give you a chance. I don't know if you have vented with the Texas Rangers here lately. Has Tommy given you a chance?
It's a lot of injuries. I mean, they've got 80% of their starting rotations been on the shelf. Seager's missed time. They're decimated right now by injury. I don't know if they'll have enough time to get healthy and get back in this. They got Evaldi back, who was the playoff hero last year. They got him back last night and they won. But they've been missing 80% of their starting rotation. No team is overcoming that. So it's really more about, can they hang in there, get healthy? I mean, Josh Young has been out most of the season. Their bats are missing time. It is what it is. I haven't lost a lot of sleep over it. It's more about, when they get healthy, are they going to be too far behind to make their run? And I don't know the answer to that yet. Well, but they've literally, Paul, in the last couple, they've thrown pitchers out there. I'm a big fan.
Well,
I've never heard of these people. Well, I have no idea who these people are.
Yeah, the American West, the American League West, though, is probably one of the weaker divisions. I mean,
we didn't anticipate that, but yeah, it's gotten out to a slow start,
and it's unbelievable. They're 3.5 games out of first place in that division behind the Seattle Mariners. I mean, that's the one thing that has got to give you solace, is the fact that you're not going to make a wild card. So don't get that out of your head. There will be no wild card.
I don't know about that.
I don't, at this rate, it won't. But there's the chance that you can win the American League West. And that's not a bad chance. And so you're blessed that, although you're struggling, even though the Rangers are struggling, I'm giving you some hope, and I'm saying that there's the chance that the Rangers win the division. I mean, it's just not that strong.
Look, Seattle,
it's probably
Houston.
The league.
Houston got out to a slow start. They're not going to stay slow.
Yeah.
Seattle's got way too much pitching. All three of those teams, I think, are going to be in it at the end.
Yeah.
The Rangers right now are probably the least likely of those three teams, only because they have so many injuries they've got to overcome to even get back into the conversation. But, you know, all three of those teams are good. And I think we'll be there in the end. But it's been an interesting start to the baseball season. The Royals right now are one of those teams who's really good. And it's all about staying power. Philadelphia is off to one of the best starts we've seen in a long time. All of a sudden, they lose 3 games in a row. Atlanta lost their star player for the year. It's been a little bit of a battle of attrition this year across baseball. Some of the teams that are struggling that might surprise you are due in large part to injury, and the Royals just haven't had to deal with that yet, thankfully.
Yeah.
And we hope that they will. I'm not sure they're real equipped to do that. And so we watch it closely every day. I get nervous every day about that.
Well, I get you on that. And
so Pasquantino going down, I'm like, oh, because I watch the Rangers and I know how quickly that can turn upside down. You lose a few key players, and it's like, well, crap. There goes that balloon's deflated. Now what do we do? And so I do think you can prepare for it and try to build in a little depth through the trade deadline.
You know, and I get a kick out of the fact that on an occasion on this show on the days that I'm in with you, we have visited a little about in fact, I think the last time we were together, we visited for about 3 or 4 minutes with the Los Angeles Dodgers. And we have talked about just what a killer lineup. I mean, their first 3 to 4 batters is just unbelievable. It's an unbelievable lineup.
It's ridiculous.
It's just amazing. Of course, their payroll kind of matches that as well. But with that being said, you know, right now the Kansas City Chiefs are half a game behind the Los Angeles Dodgers. Dodgers are 35-22, and the Royals are 34-22. Half a game behind this team, with a lineup that $1 billion has bought. $1 billion, and I'm not being facetious, I'm saying $1 billion has bought a bunch of the lineup of the Los Angeles Dodgers. So with that being said, I find it fascinating and interesting. But I'll tell you what, this is a fun team. And they are not disappointing. The Royals at this point, 12 games over 500. Jacob. That's big. I mean, did I ever dream in my life on a radio show I'd be able to say anything like that? Particularly, we're as good as in June. So with that being said, I just find it fascinating. It's so much fun. On my little trip I was on last week, I happened to be able to watch some Royals, and there's nothing like watching the Kansas City Royals out on the TV and look out the window and see mountains. There's nothing like it.
Yeah, it's been fun, and it'll keep going. They got to get it done tonight. You'll hear it on KFH. We'll have more. We'll look at the matchup tonight later in the show.
That's right.
But it's out there. It's a big one for the
big
Royals. Big game with Lugo on the mound. All right, let's take a quick break. When we come back, Scotty Scheffler, there's another video out of the situation with Scheffler, just giving more insight to that crazy situation that I guess is going to go to trial, which seems like a bad decision for the police department.
Seems like it to me.
We'll get into all of it and kind of let you know what's out there now with this latest video. It's a discussion that Scheffler had with another police officer who showed up afterward. And again, it's like, I don't know that I want. I think everybody could cut their losses here, but it sounds like we're just going to be stubborn. We'll see. We'll tell you what's going on here with the Scotty Scheffler situation. When we return, it's Albracht and Savage. Max Power producing for us. We'll be right back.
97.5 and 1240 KFH.
Brought to you by IHOP. Visit IHOP and try the new If movie-inspired menu flavors like Blue's Dazzleberry Pancakes.
Save big money on your next outdoor project at Menards. Easily transport mulch, stone, and other materials with a Masterforce heavy-duty steel wheelbarrow. Maneuver over any terrain with flat-free tires that never need air. Save big money on a Masterforce heavy-duty steel wheelbarrow and all Masterforce tools exclusively at Menards. Visit us in store and menards.com and see all the great deals going on now in our weekly flyer.
Save big money at Menards.
I have diabetes. I'm at risk for pneumococcal pneumonia.
I have asthma. I'm at risk too.
If you're 19 or older with chronic conditions like asthma, diabetes, COPD, or heart disease, or are 65 or older, you are at increased risk for pneumococcal pneumonia. Ask your doctor or pharmacist about Prevnar 20, pneumococcal 20-valent conjugate vaccine, a Pfizer vaccine that can help protect you against pneumococcal pneumonia in just one dose. Even if you've already been vaccinated with other pneumonia vaccines, Prevnar 20 may help provide added protection. Prevnar 20 is approved for adults to help prevent infections from 20 strains of the bacteria that cause pneumococcal pneumonia. Continued approval may depend on a supportive study. Don't get Prevnar 20 if you've had a severe allergic reaction to the vaccine or its ingredients. Adults with weakened immune systems may have a lower response to the vaccine. Side effects include pain and swelling at the injection site, fatigue, headache, muscle, and joint pain. For full prescribing information, please call 1-855-213-2138 or visit Prevnar20.com.
Your favorite NFL team is getting ready for a new season of football. From OTAs to minicamp, the Odyssey app is your home for local sports talk and coverage all off-season long. Get updates on key storylines, rapid reactions, rookie reports, and more right on your smartphone. Plus, go back and listen to anything you may have missed live with Rewind. It's always football season on the Odyssey app. AUDACY. Download it today for free.
This is the story of the one. As a maintenance engineer, he hears things differently. To the untrained ear, everything on his shop floor might sound fine, but he can hear gears grinding or a belt slipping. So he steps in to fix the problem at hand before it gets out of hand. And he knows Grainger's got the right product he needs to get the job done, which is music to his ears. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
With T-Mobile, you can get tons of benefits and still save, because nobody likes having to choose. It's like getting romance and sci-fi.
I love you. Also, I'm a robot.
At T-Mobile, you can get the benefits you want and still save on every plan versus AT&T and Verizon. See how with our savings calculator at T-Mobile.com/switch. Plus, switch and keep your phone. We'll pay it off up to $800.
Via virtual prepaid card in 15 days. Qualifying unlocked device credit service and timely redemption required. Card has no cash access and expires in 6 months. See T-Mobile.com.
Summer starts now with Memorial Day appliance savings at Lowe's. Get up to 40% off. Plus, save an extra $50 on every $500 you spend on select major appliances from brands like KitchenAid. And right now, you can double your savings when you spend $2,500 or more. Shop in-store or online today, because Lowe's knows home improvement. Offer valid through 6/5. Savings vary based on purchase amount. Exclusions apply. See Lowe's.com for more details.
Hello, I'm Derek of Derek's Deals. Derek's Deals is the local leader in liquidated merchandise pallets, and we can help you become a reseller. This is a great way to make extra money by reselling merchandise on eBay or Amazon, flea markets, garage sales, or Facebook Marketplace. Derek's Deals is open to the public, and we have new pallets weekly. Pallets range in size and price, and you get to choose your pallet. No appointment necessary. Open Fridays 12 to 6, and Saturdays 11 a.m. to 4 p.m. Come by 1518 East Lewis. Find us on Facebook or at Derek'sDealsICT.com.
Hi, Tom here. Coming up tomorrow morning on the Bob and Tom Show. He's great. He's comedian Jimmy Pardo from NeverNotFunny.com.
I think you're doing something cool, and you walk in, and even hillbillies are looking at you like, "Come on, brother, that's a child."
What the hell? You
don't bring a child in here. You let them listen home to the 8-track.
That's tomorrow morning on the Bob and Tom Show. Bob and Tom mornings. This is 97.5 and 1240 KFH.
More people listen to KFH than any other sports radio station in South Central Kansas, including Wichita. This is 97.5 and 1240 KFH. The #1 rated sports radio in Wichita is 97.5 and 1240 KFH. It's time to get back to the sports talk.
All right, let's do this thing. Go!
Sports Daily is on KFH.
All right, welcome back in, everybody. Sports Daily here on KFH. Jacob Albracht, Paul Savage alongside you on this Wednesday edition. Get our days in order after the Monday holiday. Paul, I'm seeing this morning more video from the Scotty Scheffler situation.
All right.
So it's perspective you're getting audio. Really, I think it probably came from a body camera. I'm not sure where the audio came from, but it's another officer after the initial incident trying to talk to Scheffler about what happened, and you can hear Scheffler's point of view a little bit. That he didn't realize it was a police officer. He was trying to get into the main gate. He thought it was just a regular security guard. And according to Scheffler, as his, telling to this officer, he got, the original officer just yelled stop, didn't say he was a police officer, although it sounds like he was wearing a police jacket, hit Scheffler with a flashlight, and Scheffler sounds like he was very confused. And the other officer's not having it. Right, the one he's talking to at this point, saying, you stop when somebody tells you to stop. We're in yellow vests, so we don't get hit, and all these things. The more and more I see and hear, and like all of this, Paul, you had a very unique set of circumstances. You had a very unfortunate situation that was high intensity. There was a major traffic situation after somebody was hit and killed by a vehicle. As you've got one of the bigger events your city will have all year. You've got professionals late for arrivals, tee times because of the traffic situation, frantic trying to get in. You've got the number one player in the world, the biggest celebrity in the city of Louisville that weekend, Scotty Scheffler. And he is trying to make his tee time. He's confused. He's nervous. Whatever, which is not always an excuse, but what I don't understand is why the Louisville Police Department's not just like, this was very unfortunate set of circumstances. Everybody's, we're all fine. There was no malice involved in this. No big deal. But I think you're getting some, backbowing a little bit. Like, no, this is procedure. We're not going to give Scotty Scheffler any special circumstances. And it's not that Scotty Scheffler deserves special circumstances, Paul. But Scotty Scheffler does have an element to his life that he is a celebrity, and they can be put in danger pretty easily. It's why they hire security guards. So if a random person in a high-intensity situation that he doesn't realize is a police officer is hitting him and telling him to stop, yeah, I get you want to stop for police officers, but he's saying he didn't know he was a police officer. So no, he's not just going to stop in his mind when a random person is aggressively coming after him, telling him when to stop. He can't live his life that way. That's one of the things that you don't get to do when you're, a high profile person. You have to be on guard. And so again, I'm not saying it's right, wrong, or indifferent. I'm just saying what I don't understand is why everybody, and I think Scheffler would be down for this, or at least he would have been, maybe not so much now, because his attorney's saying we're not going to admit or plea anything. We're going to take this thing to trial, or they'll drop the charges. And I don't disagree with that, because he'll win a trial. And I don't understand why the police department wants to go through that. The egg right now is on the face a little bit of an officer who perhaps appears to have embellished what happened. And so again, this was a horrible situation that everybody could seemingly just sort of walk away from, Paul, and be like, man, it sucks that happened. Sorry. Everybody says sorry, misunderstanding, no big deal. Let's all move on with our lives. But why on earth, if you're the decision maker of that department, would you take this situation to trial? You're not going to win. You've already lost the court of public opinion. I don't think you'll win in trial. I don't understand the point of it. Why not just walk away from this?
Well, there's got to be one reason. It's probably to a certain extent ego. And of course, cell phones have changed the way we look at police over the course of years, which is fortunate or unfortunate, depending on how you look at it. And having looked at probably the same film you've looked at, initially, I can remember the first day of this story. In fact, I may have been on the radio with you. I think I was, and we had talked about, we got a real problem. Scotty Scheffler dragged a police. We don't know how far he dragged him, but a policeman, jumped onto his car, locked onto his car, and Scotty Scheffler dragged a police. Well, that wasn't the case. And now we find out that this policeman who has charged or arrested Scotty Scheffler really wasn't dragged, but we also know that he has been reprimanded by the Louisville Police Department for not having a body cam on, because all policemen in that particular city are required to have a cam of some sort, a cam that records everything, and a body cam, I guess, is what they call it. So, with that being said, he didn't have it on, and from appearances and testimony, it sounds like there was embellishment. I'm not going to say that the police officer lied. I will say that it sounds like to me, from what we have gathered, there has been embellishment on his part.
And look,
and
let me jump in on that, because
Okay.
I'm not going to sit here and do anything for the most part, but in general, and there are specific situations, be appreciative of the job that is done by police officers. I understand why that moment was intense, right? I don't think the officer knew who Scotty Scheffler was. I don't think Scotty Scheffler knew who the officer was.
Didn't know he was an officer, you mean?
Right.
Right.
He thought he was a course security guard. So
Right.
he's trying to tell him, like, I got to get in there, right? Like, I got to get a tee time. And it is different if it's a course security guard versus a police officer.
Of course it is.
Because a
Oh,
course
yes.
security guard is going to understand better what's happening on the other side of this, and that they have a major golf tournament they got to play. And so, again, only embellishment in that the moment got so intense that everything felt bigger than it was. The reality is none of this was that big a deal, but it felt bigger because everybody was confused. It was high intensity. And that's it. Like, it would be so easy to walk away from this, Paul. Yes, you should always have your body camera on. There's a good reason for that, especially in Louisville. Got to have it on. Okay? That's a problem for that police officer. It's part of the job. The other officer did, I think, and I think that's where we're getting this next audio. And look, I get it. I get both sides of it, other than don't mess with this if you're the police. Like, what are you doing? Like, what are you doing here? And nobody is going to look at this. It's Scotty Scheffler. He wasn't being a jerk by any account. Like, it just was a misunderstanding. Why can't we just be like, oh, misunderstanding, let's walk away from that? Do we really need to have this battle publicly? Because that's not going to be a good look for the police department. It doesn't matter for Scheffler. Scheffler's already won in this, in the sense that everybody's had so much fun with this. Perfect straight as an arrow guy. He gets a run in and goes to jail. Like, everyone's had their fun with that piece of it. I just don't get what the point of dragging this out is. Like, you're going to go up against some of the most high profile, probably, and successful attorneys on the planet. Like, why? Why is this necessary?
Well, you know why. It's obvious that there's ego involved on some level for a couple of these police officers, and I don't know what it is. I don't know if that is the case. It sounds, I don't know what else it could be. If ever there was, and I like the way you have phrased it, if ever there was a place that one could compromise, understand the other person's position, what happened, I believe you are totally 100% walk away from it. This is not one of those things. Scotty Scheffler, I think we can safely assume, will never, ever be a threat to society. And I think with that being said, we understand where you're at. You're at, what was it, 5 or 6 in the morning? It was still dark. Sun wasn't even up. There's this horrible accident. We all feel bad for the family that was affected by this particular accident, and we hate that. And yet, on the other hand, I can certainly see this. And from the beginning, this story has evolved. It's changed. It's gone from,
and that's going to keep happening, and it's going to keep not looking good for the police department.
And you're right. There's a little thing that we call cell phones that more and more people are filming all their interactions with police, whether you're pulled over for a ticket or whatever the case. That's probably a good thing. I have no problem with it. There are certain things that you need to protect yourself with, and this might be one of them. But it appears to me, because of the police department with the police commissioner going on and making a big deal of this thing, it tells me that there's a certain amount of, I'm going to protect my officers even when they do something wrong, and exaggerating, not wearing police body cams. There's all kinds of errors on the side of the police on this whole thing. And you're exactly right, Jacob. It makes no sense. What is to be gained by making a big deal of this? The video is out. We now know that the police officer was not dragged, don't we? First day, I remember thinking to myself, "Oh boy, this is trouble for Scotty. He dragged a police officer. What is wrong with him?" And then we find out, well, that's not quite the case, is it, Jacob?
No, bump. Look, we'll see. We'll see if this thing goes to trial. It'll be fascinating.
Drop it. Louisville, drop it. Let it go.
What do you think? 869-1240 on the IHOP hotline. I think most people are in agreement on this one. All right, when we come back, let's take a break. I want to let Paul give us some insight. Major League Baseball is going to incorporate Negro League stats into its records, which are going to change some records, which is going to shine a light on some of the great baseball players of all time that a lot of us don't know about. And one of those, Paul, by the way we were talking this morning, it has a big Wichita connection. So we'll let Paul get into that a little bit. I'll tell you exactly what's happening with that when we return. Sports Daily rolls forward on a Wednesday. It's Albracht and Savage. Don't go away.
97.5 and 1240 KFH.
Brought to you by IHOP. Visit IHOP and try the new If movie-inspired menu flavors like Blue's Dazzleberry Pancakes.
Summer starts now with Memorial Day appliance savings at Lowe's. Get up to 40% off. Plus, save an extra $50 on every $500 you spend on select major appliances from brands like KitchenAid. And right now, you can double your savings when you spend $2,500 or more. Shop in-store or online today because Lowe's knows home improvement. Offer valid through 6/5. Savings vary based on purchase amount. Exclusions apply. See Lowe's.com for more details.
Summer's here, and so are the deals at Target's Hello Summer Sale. Let's go. Get ready for perfect patio days with up to 30% off outdoor furniture, rugs, and decor. Banana splits for dinner? Yes, please. I love it. Select favorite day ice cream, toppings, and treats are 20% off. And road trip ready summer style is easy to pack with 30% off select swimsuits, tees, and sandals for the whole family. Target's Hello Summer Sale ends Monday. Restrictions apply.
I love it. Crazy J's Furniture and Sleep Shop is Wichita's favorite furniture and mattress store for 3 generations and counting. Offering the largest in-stock selection of quality name-brand mattresses and bunk beds and so much more at the best prices in town guaranteed. Living room, dining room, bedroom groups, and accessories with delivery setup and special financing available. Open 7 days a week. East at 1026 South Oliver, west at 604 North Tyler. Go see them today.
Crazy J's Furniture and Sleep Shop. Crazy. The safest deal in town.
Who makes your first impression all it can be? Pave the way.
Did you know that routine maintenance extends the life of your pavement, saving you thousands of dollars and eliminating liability concerns? Trust the professionals at Pave the Way, specializing in paving, patching, crack sealing, seal coating, and pavement marking. Call 316-990-5855 today for a fast, free estimate. You'll be glad you did.
Pave the way. Kicking asphalt every day.
Do you find yourself at a loss for the complexities of retirement? Do topics like phantom income, required minimum distribution, and Medicaid spend down utterly confuse you? Market Advisory Group has free webinars for you to watch, including finances and investing, taxes, estate planning, Medicare, and more. Go to marketadvisorygroup.com to kickstart your retirement education. Market Advisory Group, invested in you.
Financial advisory services offered through Foundation Investment Advisors, LLC, an SEC-registered investment advisor. Not connected with or endorsed by the U.S. government or the federal Medicare program.
At Tropical Smoothie Cafe, summer is our season. And we're kicking it off with a free 12-ounce Island Punch smoothie for National Flip-Flop Day. Grab your flip-flops and head to your local cafe on May 29th from 2 to 7 p.m. Terms and conditions apply.
Time flies when you're having fun and helping people, and Mike Seltzer Jewelers knows all about that, helping nervous grooms-to-be find just the right diamond engagement ring, helping seasoned couples celebrate the milestones of their marriage with an anniversary band, birthday gifts, Mother's Day, and graduation gifts, and all the other beautiful occasions of life commemorated with the gift of jewelry. Mike Seltzer loves working with families generation after generation. Mike can even help you with jewelry custom design if your grandmother leaves you a ring with a gem you love but a setting that isn't quite your style. Mike can help if you plan to propose to your one-of-a-kind girl with a one-of-a-kind custom designed engagement ring. Come in and shop now and save 50% off. Don't miss this chance to save 50%. Mike Seltzer Jewelers sale is going on now at 29th and Rock Road, Comatera Center, Wichita.
Pizza John's has been serving Derby since 1969. We pride ourselves on our great pizza and personal service. We treat all of our customers like family. Pizza John's, 208 South Baltimore, purveyors of round meals and flat snacks. Order your Pizza John's today.
Hey everyone, it's Boomer Esiason here. Superchargers, headlights, and more. With over 122 million parts, eBay Motors has everything you need to maintain your vehicle and level it up to peak performance. And with eBay Guaranteed Fit, your part is guaranteed to fit your ride every time or your money back. Stay on your game, all with the parts you need at the prices you want. It's easy to bring home huge wins. Keep your ride or die alive at ebaymotors.com. Eligible items only. Exclusions apply.
If you're looking for the most epic place on earth, let's start at the base of a massive waterfall. Then trek through the thick jungle. Then climb to the peak of a snowy mountaintop. Then once you get there, keep going. Because with intelligent 4x4 and 7 drive modes and a Nissan Pathfinder, the search is the real adventure.
Available feature. Intelligent 4x4 cannot prevent collisions or provide enhanced traction in all conditions. Always monitor traffic and weather conditions.
The commercials are over.
Yo, I haven't got all day.
869-1240.
Time to get busy.
This is Sports Daily on KFH.
All right, welcome back in, everybody, to Sports Daily. This portion of the program brought to you by Crestview Country Club. It is swimming pool season. I have been a couple of times already out there. It's fantastic. I know a lot of people get the memberships mostly to use that kind of stuff, get the kids' camps and all the activities. And we've got swim teams started right now. My kids are there practicing right now. It's a crazy month. We sit out at the pool quite a bit. Lots of membership styles. Of course, the Wichita Open coming out there here pretty quick. The golf is great, but you can give Crestview a call, tell them we sent you, and ask them about all the different kinds of things that they have available that you might be able to take advantage of. Summer's the best time to do it. All right, we continue on here on Sports Daily. Jacob Albracht, Paul Savage. So if you missed this yesterday, what happened is that Major League Baseball is going to incorporate Negro League statistics, which will change some of the records in the record books. There are high-profile changes, Paul. Josh Gibson will now be the career leader with a .372 batting average. That puts him ahead of Ty Cobb. More than 2,300 players are going to get incorporated in this. There is a regular season, just single-season record now, and it's Gibson again, .466, back in 1943 by the Homestead Grays. That will be followed now by Charlie Chino Smith for the New York Lincoln Giants back in 1929. They overtook .440 by Hugh Duffy of the Boston team back in 1894. Gibson also moves ahead in slugging percentage, OPS. He passes Babe Ruth in both of those. So it's really interesting. We're going to see a lot of this shaken up, Paul. And look, I think this is awesome. My grandpa used to tell me about some of the great players in the Negro Leagues. Lifelong baseball fan, St. Louis Cardinal fans, watch baseball every day, huge baseball junkie. And he would tell me about some of the great players from the Negro Leagues that, that we never got to see, competing at the highest levels. And so I've always wondered, what would history be like if the full integration had happened earlier and all of these things. So this will be a cool dynamic, I think, to baseball's history, Paul. And as our resident historian, as our resident museum curator, I have to imagine having all of this information for you is just got your juices flowing in an exciting way to now take a look at these records and where did things stand and stack up. It's got to be a cool moment as you get to, kind of dig in and dive into some of these numbers.
Well, I mean, things, the more they change, the more they stay the same in terms of what kind of quality athlete played in the Negro Leagues. I'm telling you, pretty darn good athletes. If you get my theory of what I'm trying to say is that, black players have had such a tremendous, emphasis and they've made such a big difference in basketball and football and of course baseball. Now, is there any reason why we don't think the athletes from 50 years ago were any different than it is now? They were athletic, they were great. They should have always been a part of Major League Baseball because they are Major League Baseball. And of course, it's been always great to see Major League Baseball and the way they've handled this. And some of the great Negro Leaguers have been inducted. I mean, I don't have a list in front of me, but I think of Minnie Minoso. And I mean, there's just tons of them that have been inducted over the years. And it's so good to see. And I'm so glad to see this because baseball at the Negro League level was something amazing. Just as the black athlete is today, it was as a fantastic and exciting and tremendous as it is yesterday. So I'm so glad to see this because baseball is baseball. I was interviewing, this was years ago, one of the guys involved in the Negro League Museum in Kansas City, which, by the way, if you haven't ever seen it and you're going to Kansas City, make a stop. It's not far from numerous really good barbecue places. So make a day of it. Barbecue and baseball, Negro League baseball. And one of the things that you notice in that museum is that they don't really have their own Hall of Fame. And I was asking one of the president or vice president of the baseball museum up there. I says, it doesn't seem right that there isn't a Negro League Baseball Hall of Fame. And I don't believe there's technically a Negro League Baseball Hall of Fame. And he looked over at me and so calmly said, why do we need our own Baseball Hall of Fame when our athletes were so great? We belong in the Baseball Hall of Fame at Cooperstown. And he said it so calmly and so uniquely. And I thought to myself, my gosh, that is exactly right. Why do you need a Negro League Baseball Hall of Fame when you got Cooperstown? And we're now starting to see this, come to fruition. And, we've seen names like Josh Gibson and of course, Campanella, and we could go up and down the list with a lot of these guys. And it's so exciting to see. And this has been a long time coming. It should have happened years and years ago. But these were great baseball players. They belong in record books. If the term on the record book, if the name on the book itself says baseball records, these guys belong.
Yeah, it's just a part of. I love this for so many reasons. I love it for the reasons everybody loves it because it will help celebrate players that maybe
Absolutely.
I didn't know about.
That's right.
But even more so, I think it gives us a look inside of what you should do with numbers, with history, with statistics, with all of it, because in a very different way, we face this same sort of, dilemma with an era recently of baseball, the steroid era. Nobody knows what to do with these players and their numbers, right? And I think this is going to give us such a good example of you just write it down, basically. It's a part of the history of baseball. It's there. And I have not seen any, and there may be some, and I'm sure there is, but I doubt it. Not very much people that are just wildly upset that Gibson passes Ruth with some of his numbers. It doesn't change the way you think about Gibson or Ruth. If you know about both of those players, if you didn't know about Gibson, now you know how great he was, right? You already knew how great Babe Ruth was. Does this change anybody's opinion that Babe Ruth was the greatest or one of the great? No, it doesn't. It's just you're putting all of it there for everybody to remember the game the way it is. And so I love that we're going to get a chance to do this. We're going to get a chance to learn. That's the only way we can pass the game on to future generations, Paul, is to do these things. And you just notate the history of what happened. Here are these great players. They weren't allowed to compete against everybody. Doesn't matter. Okay, here's what they were able to do. Because the competition level is clearly noted by all accounts just as high or more so than what was happening in Major League Baseball at the time. You just had two different leagues for very unfortunate reasons. So I hope it gives us sort of a look and a lesson at why you just don't write off any history of the sport. It's a museum of baseball history. Let's have all the history there. Let's put it all there front and center. And that way everybody can soak it in, take it in, observe it. I'm just so happy that this is happening. I didn't know this was even being considered on the radar, anything like this.
Right.
And just with some time on the hands, I can't wait to go back and look and see where, players, a lot of these guys, I'm not going to have known who they are. Some of them I certainly will, because my grandpa used to tell me about them.
Right.
But now I'm going to be like, okay, who's this guy? Let me look at some of this and home runs, and who are some of these great power hitters and all of these cool things that this opens the door to.
I know.
Which is what a museum is all about.
And by the way, when we come back from the break, would you mind if we continue for just a few minutes and let's talk about this changing of records and how it affects one Wichita baseball player? Is that all right?
Yeah, it affects a Wichita baseball player. Paul, give us a little insight on that as we get into hour number 2.
Bobby,
a lot of other stuff to get into. I want to get into Bronny James's decision to stay in the NBA draft. We will have that story for you. A little more Royals talk as well. The NBA playoffs, the Timberwolves stay alive. How much of a chance do they have at history to come back down 3-0? We'll get into that. It's all coming for you in hour number 2 of Sports Daily. Albracht and Savage, don't go away.
In Odyssey's sports station, this is 97.5 and 1240 KFH, KNSS HD2 Clearwater, Wichita's most listened to sports radio.
When it's time for a brake job, go with a solution that delivers one of the smoothest and most quiet rides on the road. Napa Silent Guard brakes. Made with fiber-reinforced shims that eliminate noise for the life of the pad. Rubber-coated hardware for a better fit on 99.5% of vehicles. And quality design that meets and exceeds OE performance. Napa Silent Guard brakes deliver the stopping power and performance drivers demand in their vehicles. Available now at Napa locations nationwide.
This is the story of the one. As a maintenance engineer, he hears things differently. To the untrained ear, everything on his shop floor might sound fine, but he can hear gears grinding or a belt slipping. So he steps in to fix the problem at hand before it gets out of hand. And he knows Grainger's got the right product he needs to get the job done, which is music to his ears. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Scattered showers and thunderstorms throughout the day and temperatures currently in the mid-60s.
Weather brought to you by Express Employment Professionals. If you're ready for a new job, let Express Employment Professionals help you. Express is your one connection for summer jobs in a variety of industries. Visit expresspros.com.
Hope your imaginary friends are hungry, because IHOP's new menu, inspired by the movie If, is our most imaginative yet. With blue raspberry pancakes, a pizza omelet, unbelievable soda pops, and more. It's time to set your imaginary friends free. Only at IHOP. Kids eat free every day 4 to 10 p.m. And see If in theaters May 17th. One free kids entree per full-priced adult entree. Restrictions apply. This film is not yet rated.
Sealmaster, the go-to supplier for pavement sealers, crack fillers, pothole patch, tack coat, and traffic paint products. Whatever your pavement project demands, Sealmaster's got you covered. Located at 4336 South Broadway, sealmaster.net. Get the job done right with Sealmaster.
Hey, Renee, what sandwich did you bring me today?
Well, first, I want you to tell me what you think.
I can taste garlic butter and Parmesan.
Okay, what else?
That's melted Swiss cheese on grilled sourdough.
That's right. It's our new garlic Parmesan chicken melt. I brought you the grilled. I'm having the crispy.
The cheese melts right into the chicken.
That's why we call them chicken melts.
Garlic Parmesan chicken melts. That's why you say
freshness made to order. Spangles, it just tastes better.
The weather is warming up, and Spangles has a new thirst-quenching margarita, the Jolly Rancher Watermelon Margarita. This bold, fruity flavor will be your new go-to cocktail. It's Spangle's signature margarita mixed with the most popular flavor of Jolly Rancher, watermelon. The new Spangle's Jolly Rancher Watermelon Margarita, where cocktails just taste better. Spangle's reminds you to please drink responsibly.
Freshness made to order. Spangles, it just tastes better.
We all hear the radio ads about the IRS. They tell you to be afraid, to be scared, and they try to frighten you into calling. I'm not here to do that. Tax Relief Advocates is different. TRA is here to tell you that if you owe money to the IRS, whether it's $5,000, $50,000, or $500,000, we have a solution. It doesn't matter if you're sitting in your car, at work, or with your kids. No matter where you are, call now. 800-575-6812. Don't lose hope. TRA can eliminate or reduce what you owe to the IRS. Generous programs are now available that can give you a fresh start. Our passion is taxes and helping individuals fix their IRS problems. We have over 1,000 five-star reviews on Google and an A+ with the Better Business Bureau. You don't need to be afraid of the IRS any longer. End your tax nightmare today by visiting us online at TRA.com or call 800-575-6812. That's 800-575-6812. Tax Relief Advocates. Real solutions for real people.
Come and enjoy a free birthday boil at Hook and Reel. Valid only with minimum of a 2-entree purchase, proof of ID, and also valid 3 days before and 3 days after birthday. Located in Town East Parking Lot, East Kellogg.
The KFH Studios, powered by Devon James Injury Lawyers. Call 888-8888.
That's 888-8888.
Minor League Baseball last night downtown at Riverfront Stadium. 3,300 fans on hand. Wichita couldn't get much offense going. The Wind Surge a 2-1 loss to the Springfield Cardinals. Wichita only 1 for 13 with runners in scoring position. Missed out on some opportunities. And the Wind Surge is having trouble with Springfield. 0-7 this year against the Springfield Cardinals, who are in first place. The Surge and the Cardinals again tonight downtown at 7:05 as this long homestand continues. Major League Baseball last night. The first place Los Angeles Dodgers on the road visiting the New York Mets. Game 1 of a doubleheader yesterday. The Dodgers won it 5-2 in 10 innings. Finishing it up out of the bullpen for the Dodgers in that game, Wichita native Blake Trinan throwing a scoreless 10th inning with 2 strikeouts. His first save of the season. He has not given up a run yet this season. 0.0 earned run average for the Wichita native Blake Trinan coming out of the bullpen for the first place Los Angeles Dodgers. I'm Ted, the Sports Head.
Now, from Wichita's most listened to sports radio, 97.5 and 1240 KFH. This is Sports Daily with Jacob Albracht and Tommy Castor.
All right, welcome back, everybody. Sports Daily here, hour number 2. Glad to be with you on the program today. Jacob Albracht, Paul Savage. Paul, we were mentioning right before the break the news yesterday that Major League Baseball is going to bring in the statistics from the Negro Leagues and just put it with all the statistics from Major League Baseball, and it will rework some of the stats, which would be really interesting to see how that all stacks up and happens. You, when we were talking about this, brought up the fact that this could impact or should impact a Wichita native. Tell me this, because I am unaware of this story, so fill me in here.
Well, Bobby Boyd, who was, I think, one of the great baseball players of all time, perhaps one of the best baseball player to ever come out of Wichita. What a native of Wichita. He was born in Mississippi, and but he lived in Wichita most of his adult life, of course. Love bringing him to Wichita is one of those things that it happens all the time. And but he played baseball 4 years in the Negro Leagues, and he also played 10 years in the major leagues. And here's the thing that's so cool. We all know that Jackie Robinson broke the color barrier, and of course he went on with the Dodgers for a wonderful Major League Baseball career. But would you care to guess who broke the barrier for the Chicago White Sox? The barrier of black athletes playing for the White Sox. It was Bobby Boyd, the very first black player to ever play for the Chicago White Sox. And of course, he was modest. I happen to know Bobby Boyd. He was a charter member of the Wichita Sports Hall of Fame 20-some years ago, and I knew Bobby, and I know what a great man of quality is personally. I know that personally. And I've been to lunch with him a couple times back in the day. He passed away about 20 years ago, and I was so sorry to see that. And he was such a man of quality and such a humble man. That's what was so mind-boggling. I mean, I look at the stats of this guy. This was almost a 300 career baseball hitter in Major League Baseball, not counting the Negro Leagues. I don't know what his stats. I can't find his stats on what he batted for the Memphis Red Sox, because that's who he played for. The Memphis Red Sox from 1946 to 1950, and you add that to the White Sox, the Orioles, the Athletics, and the Milwaukee Braves, 51 to 61. I mean, he had a 15, 16-year career in baseball, and it's amazing. He was an amazing man. Batted .293 lifetime. They called him the Rope, Jacob the Rope. And I know you hit a rope, you know what that means.
Yeah.
They're almost like line drive singles. I mean, you can't field them, you can't catch them. They're impossible to line up and play against them because they're literally line drives, and they're down into the outfield so quickly nobody can catch it. And an outfielder can't get to it. So he was called the Rope. That was his nickname. But here we have a Wichita resident who batted almost 300 in the majors. Now we throw in his stats with the Memphis Red Sox because the 4 years that he played in the Negro Leagues, he was a 3-time All-Star, Jacob, a 3-time All-Star in the Negro Leagues. And we're talking about, in those days, some pretty good names with regards to who was an All-Star in the Negro League. So it's really pretty cool. But I would like to see, once we get these stats added and his career now comes to fruition, I would like to see Bobby considered for Cooperstown, and I think he deserves it. Now, he's gotten his local fame. I mean, he's in the Wichita Sports Hall of Fame. He's in the Kansas Baseball Hall of Fame, the Kansas Sports Hall of Fame. He's in the NBC Hall of Fame. If there's a Hall of Fame that he's eligible for in the state of Kansas, Jacob, he's already in it. But he's not in Cooperstown. And I honestly think he does. And part of the thing that I love about Bobby Boyd, having got to know him back in the day, and he was getting older when I knew him. And in the last few years of his life, he was in a wheelchair. He struggled to get around. But he was one of the most wonderful men I've ever known. And I'm going to tell a little personal story. When he passed, I went to his funeral, and there wasn't a huge crowd. I mean, it was a little church. It was a church that was a little Baptist church on First Street, just straight north of East High School. And it was a Baptist church then. It's a different church now, but I can't remember the exact name of this church, but it was a Baptist church at that time, 20-some years ago. And some people were talking about Bobby and a little bit of his baseball and a little about what he did in Wichita. And Jacob, he was a bus driver. He drove a bus most of his life after baseball right here in Wichita. And some lady, and there were people walking up and saying, what did he mean in their lives? And it was really he had touched a lot of lives. And a lady walked up to the podium to tell what Bobby Boyd meant to her life. Bobby Boyd, she said, was the bus driver, and 5 days a week, she rode home with Bobby Boyd as the bus driver on that particular route. She would get on the bus close to where she worked, and she would get off the bus close to where she was home. She struggled in the last few years making a living, raising some kids, and turns out that she was the last drop-off for Bobby Boyd on his route. Every day, she was the last one. And for the last few years of his, before he retired, he got to the point where being the last person to get off his bus, this lady, as she struggled, he would take her to the grocery store once a week, go in, help her with some groceries, get her he'd park his bus outside the grocery store, run in with her, buy a bag full of groceries for the kids, get back on the bus. He would drop her off at the next stop where she got off. I'm telling you, I was bawling my eyes out with this story. And I'm trying to get through this story without getting emotional myself, but it's not often you hear of somebody like this. Nobody was watching him do this. And I've always said that one of the signs of integrity is doing the right thing when nobody's looking. Nobody was looking, but this lady told the story of Bobby Boyd, and we all got to look at that point. And that was one of the most wonderful stories I've ever heard in my entire life. And for that, I have such a love and respect for Bobby Boyd, and he was a friend of mine. And I hope he gets into Cooperstown. He deserves it. I can't help getting, because I voted for him like in 3 different Hall of Fames. I can't vote for him for any more Hall of Fames. He's in them all.
Yeah, it would have to be historic. I don't think his numbers are there, so it would have to be the history of breaking through at the White Sox.
Yeah, breaking through with the White Sox is a great story because he told the story. It wasn't easy, not in Chicago, and particularly not with the White Sox. Breaking in as a black man in the city of Chicago would not be easy, as you would probably surmise. But the fact is, once we add, and we've got to see what's going to happen, I'm very anxious to see how Major League Baseball combines his stats when he played the 4 years with the Memphis Red Sox, and those numbers are combined. What does that do to those numbers? What does that do to those numbers? It's going to be
tough no matter what. I mean, 19 career home runs, at least according to what I can find. I don't know that.
Well, he wasn't a power hitter, Jacob. That wasn't his game.
But Paul, only 175 runs batted in at the same time. Like that's going to be tough over.
I know
over roughly a 15-year career or so. But there is a historical nature to what he did for the game, which is where the ticket could come in. Right, for a museum. So we'll see. But great story. I had not heard of Bob Boyd. I will look him up and dig in a little bit to that. But
and when you do, Jacob, you're going to understand, at least from my perspective, I think you'll have a whole different look because the quality of the man will also ring true. You'll look up his stats. You'll see his stats. You'll see the history of his baseball. And then you'll know on the other side of that, this was a fabulous man, a wonderful man, a kind man, a generous man, and a humble man. And when you know that, it even makes the story greater, doesn't it?
Yep, it does.
Wichita treasure, Jacob. Oh, Wichita treasure.
For sure. And a great story. And we appreciate it. And there'll be lots of those great stories coming with this news.
And thank you
for bringing these stats in. Ken asks if either of us have ever visited the Negro League Museum in Kansas City. I know Paul certainly has.
Sure.
I have
numerous
not,
times.
but I have not made that trip yet, and I will. It's definitely on my list, but I will get up there and do that. And I know it's got such a special place in a lot of people's hearts. All right. So the IHOP hotline is open. We'll sort of switch gears mid-segment here. 869-1240 is the number. We appreciate you tuning in, listening in, watching our video stream, Facebook, YouTube, X. You're listening to us maybe over the air on KFH or maybe on KFHradio.com. But Paul, Bronny James has made a decision. He is headed to the NBA.
He is?
I don't think that surprises us.
No.
He's going to stay in the draft. I kind of hope, well, I'm 50-50 on this. I kind of hoped we could get him back in college basketball because we didn't get a fair look at him with his medical condition.
No, he had some problems.
You're talking about, a pedigree that's obvious in a generation of second generation athletes that are just, becoming superstars. But more, he was a really, really good high school prospect that got really good late in his high school career. I just wanted to see him play college basketball as a college basketball fan.
Right.
But in this situation, he goes to the draft combine, shows scouts, like a lot of those things that made him one of the top prospects coming out of high school. He's crazy athletic, skill sets there. It's a weak draft class, Paul. I don't think there's any guarantee. And here's where it gets really interesting and why I understand it. Look, there's the piece that his risk of falling into the second round or going undrafted is far lower than a lot of guys because he's in a great situation in life. You would assume that won't have the same sort of impact. But there's the component of his dad wanting to play. I get it. I get that from the NBA team perspectives. Like if that gives you a chance to extend the career of LeBron James, you got to take a look at that for sure. But as much as anything, Paul, it's a weak draft class by all accounts. Who's to say Bronny James comes back to college and improves his draft stock? What if that doesn't happen? What if his draft stock gets worse in a weak draft class? Right. Maybe this is his best chance to get drafted. Mm-hmm. So I get it. I get the play here from Bronny James to go ahead and go. You made all the buzz at the combines. You made all the buzz at the, at the workouts and all that stuff. You're coming into a weak draft class. There's all the things considered. I think it's reasonable to think this is as high as his draft stock will get. Certainly it could get higher if he came back and had a great year of college basketball.
Right.
Nothing's guaranteed, though. Right. And if nothing's guaranteed and you got a chance to do it now, don't you kind of have to do it now?
Well, you didn't even mention the biggest reason of all why he would come back, and that's his dad, LeBron. To play with LeBron brings a more valuable asset to Bronny James, and that is LeBron James. And there's a reason, at least as I can see this and figure it out in my own feeble brain, and that is that he wants to go to LA because his dad's at LA and his dad has a chance at coming back to LA. I think if Bronny comes out and there's interest and LA drafts Bronny James, I think you'll have a situation which would be dynamite marketing and dynamite as at least keeping LeBron James in LA, and he would probably stay for the chance to play with his son. I certainly understand why Bronny James is only going to two places to work out. Phoenix, probably because it's close and you got great connections for airlines, and LA. Those are the only two. He's probably got to go to two to make it look legitimate. And he's going, and there's, I don't know why he would go to Phoenix.
Well, look, there's another part of it too. Like, I go back to when Eli Manning and that situation, and they didn't want to go to the Chargers. And I look at Dion telling, his star players, I'm going to do everything I can to make sure you don't play in certain places. The fact that those things get out there publicly kind of shocks us a little bit. And I used to get so annoyed with the Eli Manning, like just, you should just get out there and play and do anything. Then I become a dad and I'm like, you know what? I totally get wanting the best for your kids. And I don't think that's what this situation is exactly. But if you can control the narrative, is it fair? Probably not. But does that mean you're not going to try to do it? Like if you've got a history, and this goes more maybe to Dion, like if certain organizations are not as good as others, you will not be as happy working for these people as you would maybe for other people, wouldn't you tell your kid, let's go to this other place?
That's right.
Right? Like I've got some insight here. You're lucky that I've got this insight, but guess what? I have this insight. And I don't think that's exactly what's happening here with Bronny. I think it's interesting that those are the two spots, and it makes me wonder if those are two spots that maybe LeBron would be interested in because
that's I hadn't quite considered
because they really
because
they really want to play together, and
they
I
do.
think that's really cool,
and I hope
that it happens.
Sure,
no, it would be an awesome story. You've got Ken Griffey Sr., Ken Griffey Jr. That would be super cool. If we could see something like that, even if it's just for a year or somehow, however it is, it works out. I just like at the core of it, I wish we could have gotten to see more of Bronny James as a college player.
Right.
We're not going to get that. So if you were an NBA executive, Paul, and you're looking at this and he wows you at camps, again, the circumstances for why we didn't get to see him play more college basketball were very weird and unique and, a medical condition, like a strange one too, not like a nagging hamstring injury. So it's like, okay, you've got the pedigree. We know that the pedigree, pro sports are like 99% genetic, right? Like I got no chance. My kid's got no chance, most likely to play a pro sport. Why? Genetics. He didn't hit the lottery. Sorry. You've got that part of it. You can check it off, right? He's going to have probably the mental capacity for it because he's been around it forever. Mm-hmm. That's the other advantage these second and third generation athletes are finding themselves in now. He was one of the highest, a highly touted high school player coming out. Here's the weird thing, Paul. If we didn't have the mandatory year of college, right? Let's imagine we go back in time.
All right.
No mandatory year of college.
Got it. I got you.
LeBron James comes out and enters the NBA draft as a high school prospect.
He does that. Yep.
How do you think that would have gone? You think he gets drafted?
Huh. That's interesting.
Of course he does.
With his
He
dad, yes.
absolutely would.
Talent-wise, I'm not sure, but with his dad,
He
obviously.
was a top 100 player coming in.
Okay.
I think 24/7 had him as a 4-star. They had him as a prospect at the time. He was the 28th player nationally ranked. 28 coming out of high school. I mean, that kind of player gets drafted all the time, especially when you've got, the pedigree that he gets to bring to the table.
Right.
So it is not, to me, outrageous for a team to take a chance on that sort of prospect who didn't, we just didn't get a fair shake to look at him in college. In a weak draft class. Second round picks are dart throws anyway.
Right.
Why not throw your dart there? I totally get it.
Well, and I get what you're saying. I guess I hesitated because I'm assuming, and I don't know for a fact, maybe you do, maybe you've read something on it I haven't quite seen, and that is the health problems are behind. They're in the rearview mirror.
I think so. I don't know that answer either. I don't know that we will.
Okay. That was my hesitation because, but the upside with your dad being LeBron is amazing. And there's a reason. My understanding is Bronny was invited to 12 camps. He decided to go to 2, and that tells us a lot. The 2 that he goes to, I don't even know that the Phoenix one has anything to do with it. But I mean, can you? I mean, I'm sitting there trying to imagine what the commercial value of these 2 together in Los Angeles playing for the Lakers. I'm sitting here trying to imagine. It could be the most fantastic, the most valuable combination of promotional material ever put together in the history of sports. It could be a situation where commercially they're more valuable than the salaries between the 2 they're being paid, and they're being paid a ton. I mean, it's like it could be like something we have never seen before. That potential's there, and I get it. That's why it's almost obvious to me they both end up in Los Angeles. Am I thinking on the right level? Am I way off?
I don't know. I gotta see it all play out. I'm not sure.
Well, there you go.
I don't know
I'm
how
not sure
I think
either.
this
I'm
plays
just,
out
yeah.
because it will be. I mean, it's going to be a fun story to follow. I'll tell you that.
Yeah, it will.
It will be very interesting. I mean, at the surface, I just want to know what kind of basketball player he is, and I don't think we got enough time to see that. So, based on what kind of prospect he was, based on all of it, I think he's probably making the right call here. As much as I really wanted to see him come back to college basketball because I'm such a big college basketball fan, I think this is the right call. I think it's the right way to play this if you're Bronny, because there is absolutely no guarantee that you'd be in this position again next year. And just like so many college athletes where you're like, I get it, man, you kind of got to go because it may not get a better chance than this. I think in those situations, almost always you'd say you got to go, especially if the risk of, falling further in the draft or not getting drafted, not getting that guaranteed money is lower. And I think it probably is because of, his situation in life, then take the risk. I get it.
I'm with him.
What do you think? Let us know on the IHOP hotline, 869-1240. It'll be a fascinating story that we follow for a while.
Very interesting.
But let us know what you think. We're going to come back. We'll continue the conversations here. We'll get into the Royals matchup as it pertains to tonight specifically. Lots of other things. I want to ask Paul the question we talked a little bit about yesterday, which is, would you take the Chiefs or the field at this point? Goes back to some Tom Brady thoughts on their chances at three-peating. So we'll ask Paul that question that we bantied about a little bit yesterday as we return. That, a little more Royals talk, and whatever's on your mind, let us know. Our video stream's open for you to leave your comments there as well. Facebook, YouTube, and X. We'll be right back. More Sports Daily coming after this.
97.5 and 1240 KFH.
Brought to you by IHOP. Visit IHOP and try the new If movie-inspired menu flavors like Blue's Dazzleberry Pancakes.
Looking for some of the very best brands around? Shop Pride Ag Ace Hardware, where you'll find great products like Steel, Milwaukee, Yeti, Weber, and Traeger, all under one roof. So shop Pride Ag Ace Hardware in Mays, where we take pride in serving you.
Come on, baby, don't be shy. This mudslide was made for you and I.
Oh, baby, summer's coming, and that means cruising. And there's no better treat for cruising the street than the Spangles Mudslide. It's layers of our creamy, smooth, soft serve and our gourmet chocolate dip that gets nice and crunchy when it's cold. That's when the Spangles Mudslide gets tutti frutti or dandy candy. We blend in your choice of Oreo, Butterfinger, Reese's Candies, or fresh strawberries or wild cherries, or make it a peanut mudslide. The Spangles Mudslide has your treat taste covered. You can even choose regular or large sizes.
Stop in after school, a movie, shopping, or on a date, and we'll custom build a mudslide just for you.
Baby, let's make it a date with the Spangles Mudslide.
Mudslide.
Some people just know the more you protect, the more you save with Allstate, because they know insurance math. Like if you protect your home and auto, Allstate can save you up to 25%. So it's like losing money if you don't bundle. Save more when you protect more. Bundle home and auto with Allstate today.
Bundled savings vary by state and are not available in every state. Saving up to 25% is the countrywide average of the maximum available savings off the home policy. Allstate Vehicle and Property Insurance Company and affiliates, Northbrook, Illinois.
Summer starts now with Memorial Day appliance savings at Lowe's. Get up to 40% off. Plus, save an extra $50 on every $500 you spend on select major appliances from brands like KitchenAid. And right now, you can double your savings when you spend $2,500 or more. Shop in-store or online today because Lowe's knows home improvement. Offer valid through 6/5. Savings vary based on purchase amount. Exclusions apply. See Lowe's.com for more details.
Summer's here, and so are the deals at Target's Hello Summer Sale.
Let's go.
Get ready for perfect patio days with up to 30% off outdoor furniture, rugs, and decor. Banana splits for dinner? Yes, please.
I love it.
Select favorite day ice cream, toppings, and treats are 20% off. And road trip ready summer style is easy to pack with 30% off select swimsuits, tees, and sandals for the whole family. Target's Hello Summer Sale ends Monday. Restrictions apply.
I love it.
Come and enjoy a free birthday boil at Hook and Reel. Valid only with a minimum of a 2-entree purchase, proof of ID, and also valid 3 days before and 3 days after birthday. Located in Town East Parking Lot, East Kellogg.
Baseball season is heating up. With the free Odyssey app, you can get the most entertaining local coverage of your team while you're at work or on the go. Stay locked in and in the know with your favorite hosts as they bring you unfiltered takes, react to the latest team news, and talk to callers. Don't miss any of the action. Stream the shows you love live or on demand with the Odyssey app. That's AUDACY. Download it today for free.
Need parts fast? O'Reilly Auto Parts has fast. Need them now? We've got now. No matter what you need, we have thousands of professional parts people doing their part to make sure you have it. We're O'Reilly Fast. Just one part that makes O'Reilly stand apart. The professional parts people.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
With T-Mobile, you can get tons of benefits and still save because nobody likes having to choose. It's like getting romance and sci-fi.
I love you. Also, I'm a robot.
At T-Mobile, you can get the benefits you want and still save on every plan versus AT&T and Verizon. See how with our savings calculator at T-Mobile.com/switch. Plus, switch and keep your phone. We'll pay it off up to $800.
Via virtual prepaid card in 15 days. Qualifying unlocked device credit service and timely redemption required. Card has no cash access and expires in 6 months. See T-Mobile.com.
Lowe's knows every project starts with the right tools and equipment. And during Craftsman Days, you can save big on what you need from a brand you trust. Get a free Select V20 tool when you buy a Select Battery 2-pack. Plus, save $50 on a V20 string trimmer and leaf blower combo kit. Now only $99. Because Lowe's knows home improvement. Valid through 5/29 while supplies last. Selection varies by location.
Oh, okay, take it easy. We're going on the air.
This is Sports Daily on KFH.
All right, welcome back, everybody. Sports Daily here. Jacob Albracht, Paul Savage alongside you. Paul, I asked this question yesterday. Tom Brady recently downplayed the chances of the Chiefs winning a third Super Bowl, calling it less than 50%. So we sort of got into this yesterday. I want to get your take on this, and then we'll move on. But I look at this like I think he's correct, but I still think the Chiefs are the most likely to win the Super Bowl. Like if we had to pick a Super Bowl champion right now, I would pick the Chiefs for sure. I think what Brady's saying is their chances are less than 50%, which I would actually agree with. I think when you say that, you have to look at it as, would you take the Chiefs or the field? Whereas if you're just picking a Super Bowl champion, you only get to pick one team, right? But I think what he's saying at less than 50% is that you get, the Chiefs versus all the other, 31 NFL teams. And I think in the NFL, and history tells us, and with questions still to answer about the Chiefs, like, I don't think we're in a position where we can take the Chiefs over 31 other teams. Can we, or can we? Where do you sit with that, Paul?
Well, I'll tell you what, that's a lot of teams that can be pretty good. And of course, the Achilles heel with regards to the Kansas City Chiefs is obviously their quarterback. If their quarterback stays healthy, then they'll be in good shape. If Patrick Mahomes gets hurt, that changes everything, doesn't it? I mean, and that's
why, yeah,
we all know there's every snap, there's the chance that something happens. So with that being said, and I think about some of the teams that are going to make a run. Who's going to make a run? I think the Ravens will probably be there. Miami might be there. I could list off a half a dozen teams, just as you could, that may make a run for, to make the championship game and to win a Super Bowl. I mean, there's going to be those teams. Will it be the Bengals? I mean, who's got the healthy quarterback? I mean, you've got the Jets. How good will they be with their quarterback that they lost?
Rodgers,
I mean, how there's a lot of scenarios to play out.
I think
I would take the field. I think I would.
I think you have to, don't you?
I would.
Just in it, like the injury is the simplest reason. Like it's difficult to do no matter what. And if you're looking at it that way, now again, if I'm telling you have to pick one Super Bowl champion, I'm taking the Chiefs.
Well, I'm taking that. Yeah, that's a different deal.
I think Brady's point was like the difficulty and the margin for error is just so incredibly daunting that it's hard to have any team ever in the history of football say their chances are that good. And it happens. Mm-hmm. Look, take Chiefs to the field last year. You take the Chiefs, you're in good shape. So it's not say I think they're going to get the three-peat.
Mm-hmm.
I do.
Yeah.
But I think that you do have to have a lot of good fortune in order for that to be able to happen.
Right. And what do you think about who's going to be the one to push him? For me, it's probably the Ravens right now. I don't know. I certainly don't know.
The Ravens lost a lot on the offensive line. I think I would probably say the Bengals.
The Bengals,
I'll tell you the team.
I'll
tell you the team that is really well. Sorry, that's in the AFC. I think San Francisco is the biggest threat for sure. In general terms, I think San Francisco is still that team. But Paul, the team that intrigues me the most, probably across football, is the Texans. And I don't know if they have so much room to regress after the year they had last year. But they also have so much room to take that next step. And it's on the shoulders of CJ Stroud. They went out and they got him Stephon Diggs. They got a lot of good young players. They got a good young coach that we all like. And they got this quarterback. And look, that year two jump happens all the time for great quarterbacks. It's not out of the question.
That's speculation,
for CJ Stroud to take another step. So I don't know. I think they could be in the mix. I think the Ravens will certainly be in the mix.
Yes.
The Bengals for sure. I don't know about the Jets. I think that's another really interesting team
Aaron
to watch
Rodgers,
this year.
We got to figure it out. Yeah.
I think the answer is the 49ers, though, in general.
Yeah. Yeah.
The Eagles are still intriguing. I know they were down last year. They could bounce back. I don't know. It does feel, look, I'm going to pick the Chiefs to win the Super Bowl. I can't imagine outside of injury anything right now that would happen between now and the beginning of the season that would make me not pick the Chiefs to win the Super Bowl. Now, that's different than taking them against the field in any, that those are two different things. But I'm going to be on the Chiefs. Paul, NBA playoffs last night. We get Minnesota staying alive. They get to come back home. It hasn't been done in the NBA. They down 3-0 win. They'll be favored tomorrow night. What do you think their chances are to make that history?
Well, I think they're probably 150-0 because 150 times.
That's about how many times?
That's about how many times that this situation has happened in the NBA, and no one has ever come back at this level, at this time of the year. We're talking about conference finals. No one has ever come back from a 3-0 deficit and gotten to the finals. It's not happened. I think you got to put a lot of reasons for that, but one of them is that the team they're playing is pretty good. Dallas is playing. In fact, I think Dallas
with 2 Hall of Famers.
Dallas is playing personally a lot better than the semis. I mean, there were moments where I thought to myself, what happened to the energy of the Magic? Of the Mavericks? What happened to them? Because they were playing at such a high level, and then they had a couple of games in the semis where they just didn't show up and play. I mean, I remember 2 weeks ago when I was in on Wednesday 2 weeks ago, we were talking about energy levels and how it looked like to me that there were energy level problems with certain teams that were still playing. And one of those teams we talked about was the Dallas Mavericks. And of course, their energy level has been so good, so high, so spot on that it's been almost difficult because let's face it, Minnesota's a good basketball team. They're young. They've got a lot in front of them if they keep this team together, financially, keep them all healthy and keep them there in Minnesota. That's going to be a really good basketball franchise in the NBA. But with that being said, right now, lights out with shooting with regards to the Mavericks. They're putting the ball in the hole. They're making their threes. Doncic is just unbelievable. And he's knocking down everything. He's the difference in this game. He controls the passing lanes. I mean, he's finding open players. It's amazing to watch this guy. And there's no chance of the Timberwolves coming back from 3-0. No chance. None whatsoever.
All right. So I'll tell you why I think it's worth paying attention to. Game 1, 3-point margin. Game 2, 1-point margin.
You've got
Game 3, 9-point margin, but close.
All right.
Last night, 5-point margin.
Good point.
These games have been tight. Edwards, until last night, Edwards and Karl Anthony Towns have not been good in this series at all. Doncic is playing hurt right now. I think it's as good a chance as teams have ever had to do this.
Well,
and no, I don't think that they will.
Okay.
Because I think the Mavericks are better than that to let that happen. But I do think if you could tell me that Edwards and Karl Anthony Towns have good games the rest of the series, which they did not in the first 3 games, they did in game 4, which in totality would mean they'd have to have 4 out of 7 good games in this series. I think this could get really interesting. All these games have been razor tight anyway.
Right.
You had Luka hit a game winner, a wild game winner, or this series might be 2-2 instead of 3-1 right now. I think it's within the realm of possibility.
Yeah.
And by the way, I think either of these teams will be able to match up with the Celtics too, as good as the Celtics are. I think the NBA Finals ought to be pretty good.
And the Celtics are nicked up a little bit. We get that. But
they get time to rest, though.
But they do get some time. Sometimes we talk about, is that an advantage for teams to sit so long? And by the way, I think for the Celtics in this particular case, and that's a point you make often, I think you're exactly right. This is a chance for them to rest, and it's probably it's well-deserved and well-needed at this point. So with that being said, but I look at Towns and I think to myself, this could be one of the next all-stars, one of the great players, one of those kind of kids that we could be. Oh gosh, this is almost going to hurt to say. Talk about Michael in the same breath with Towns. I know that's a ways away, but my goodness, that guy
with Towns or with Anthony Edwards?
I'm sorry, Anthony Edwards. And I'm sorry, Anthony Edwards. Anthony Edwards is my goodness, is as good as we see in the NBA. He could end up being, and I dare say, in the same breath with Michael.
I'm not quite that high on him. I think he's good. He's only 22. That's what's wild.
So
about
young.
Him.
That's right.
I was talking to a T-Wolves fan about this yesterday. he is so interesting to me because I can't even really define what it is that makes him so good. Like when we talk about Luka, who I think is in, if you're comparing Edwards to Michael, which I think a lot of people are, Luka compares to LeBron as far as, style and everything. And so I think Luka's greatness is easier to define, right? It's very clear. He's a great shooter. He's a great passer. He's really tall. Anthony Edwards is a little harder to define for me. He's super explosive, like Jordan was, and he's just so young. It feels like he's been in the league forever, Paul, like for 6 years now, but he's not. He's young.
I know.
And he is getting better. And I do think this is like for one of those two young stars, this is going to be a chance. And then you've got Kyrie Irving sitting there who's had this renaissance, who can, solidify himself as a Hall of Famer, right? As one of the great point guards probably ever, I think. You get 2 championships in 2 different places. That's not easy to do when you're one of the featured players there. So I love this. I think I want to see this stretch out a little bit because you've got 2 of the great young stars with Anthony Edwards and Luka. You've got the Kyrie Irving dynamic. Nobody thought that was a good trade for the Mavericks when they made it, and here they are. Like all of these things go in. I just think it's going to be an interesting series. I hope it doesn't end as quickly as we fear.
Right.
And then Minnesota can stretch it a little bit. I don't even know. I grew up, I guess, a Mavs fan. I want to see this series get longer, though. And I want to see one of these 2 teams take down the Celtics in the finals, just from a rooting perspective. I want to see, and Jason Tatum's one of these young stars too.
Yes.
It's a good time in the league. It's a fun series. I know it was 3-0, but man, some of these games have been outstanding in that series.
Quick question. Question for you, real quick. No right or wrong answer. Question is Doncic the least athletic great player you've ever seen?
No. He just kind of looks. So does Jokic, though, and they're both fantastic, right? Jokic is the best. Jokic is the best player in the world right now, and he looks the same way Doncic does.
You think so?
I mean, they look kind of the same. I don't want to call him soft, Paul.
They're not soft. I didn't say soft.
A very soft individual.
I said,
yeah, but that's what you meant.
Well,
that's what you meant.
No. I meant Doncic. You don't watch him shoot. Next game, watch him shoot threes. He never.
I've watched him shoot threes for years.
He never gets off the ground. I mean, there's guys that when they shoot,
because he's 7 feet tall, he doesn't need to get off the ground.
Okay. I'm not talking about Jokic. I'm talking about Doncic.
Doncic is, what is he? 6'9", 6'10"?
Well, but I mean,
what is
just asking the question. I mean, Max, am I off on that
6'7".
Max says he
6'7". He doesn't need to jump. He didn't need to jump.
Okay.
He makes a ton of them.
Okay.
He shoots a billion threes.
Boys, he a great 3 shooter. I mean,
he's a great player.
He's just a great player. And he sees the court. He made some. I mean, if you watched anything from last night, he made some passes that.
Yeah.
How did he even see it? I mean, let alone make the pass. How does he even see it? And I mean, it's amazing. He is an amazing player.
Yeah, it reminds me of LeBron. That's what it's always reminded me of.
It does in a way.
All right, let's take a quick break. We'll come back. Your thoughts, 869-1240 is the number to call. We got more Sports Daily coming for you. We'll get into this Royals matchup tonight specifically. We'll tell you, I'll look up the betting angles on this with Lugo on the bump. But we'll do it all as we return on Sports Daily.
97.5 and 1240 KFH.
Brought to you by IHOP. Visit IHOP and try the new If movie-inspired menu flavors like Blue's Dazzleberry Pancakes.
In all good relationships, there must be trust. You trust your doctor, your accountant, and you can trust your jeweler too if your jeweler is Mike Seltzer. Mike Seltzer Jewelers is a longtime Wichita success story. You can trust that Mike Seltzer Jewelers will give you the best customer service, offer a huge selection, and will work within your budget too. Right now at Mike Seltzer Jewelers, you can save 50%. Save on rings, bracelets, earrings, necklaces, necklaces in diamonds, gemstones, and pearls. But don't wait. Shop now and make someone very, very happy. Mike Seltzer Jewelers is open Tuesday through Saturday at 2929 North Rock Road in Comatera Center. Check them out online at MikeSeltzerJewelers.com and like Mike on Facebook too. Stop by today at 29th and Rock. Save 50% when you shop Mike Seltzer Jewelers sale today.
Who makes your first impression all it can be? Pave the way.
Are you looking to pave your parking lot or driveway but aren't sure who to call? Trust the professionals at Pave the Way. They're the leaders in the pavement industry and do the job right at a price that won't break the bank. Call 316-990-5855 today for a fast, free estimate. You'll be glad you did.
Pave the way. Kicking asphalt every day.
Make your money go further at Crazy J's Furniture and Sleep Shop with 2 convenient locations to serve you. Open 7 days a week, east at 1026 South Oliver, west at 604 North Tyler. Rugs starting at $39, mattresses just $99, bunk beds only $2.99, sofa and love seats from $7.99. Delivery setup and special financing available with no credit needed and instant approvals. Wichita's favorite furniture and mattress store for 3 generations and counting. Nobody sells beds for less than Crazy J's.
If you owe $25, $50, even $100,000 or more in credit card debt, medical bills, or other unsecured debt, you may be feeling overwhelmed, filled with anxiety, even embarrassed. Well, stop. That's right, stop. It's not your fault. Life happens. People lose their jobs, get sick, get divorced, and many other things that can lead to financial stress. So, don't feel bad about it. Do something about it. And join the over 300,000 people who worked with accredited debt relief to pay off their debt. A company with an A+ rating from the Better Business Bureau. They're here to help people just like you. Get out of debt faster and feel the relief that comes with financial freedom. So stop delaying. Make the call to learn how much they can save you. Time and money. There's no pressure, no obligation, just a call. Call 877-272-8115. 877-272-8115. That's 877-272-8115. Program and services not available in all states.
I'm Bob Burke, founder and chairman of Burke America Parts Group, a family of brands that includes RepairClinic.com, an appliance and HVAC parts solution company that's grown into an international brand. Before AmericanEagle.com, we partially launched a new technology platform developed by another firm. American Eagle helped take our technology to a whole new level with digital marketing, software development, and business insights into our key markets, appliances, HVAC, and outdoor power equipment, and did so both on time and on budget. AmericanEagle.com has the resources, experience, and talent needed to produce solutions. Our new technology platform, developed by AmericanEagle.com, has produced tremendous results with higher traffic, conversion, engagement, and online revenue. If you have any home repairs you need to take care of, check us out at RepairClinic.com. If you need a world-class website or technology project, then I would highly recommend AmericanEagle.com.
Call AmericanEagle.com at 773-NETWORK. That's AmericanEagle.com, 773-NETWORK.
Ladies and gentlemen, Bob and Tom.
In Maine, a tractor trailer hauling about 15 million honeybees crashed and overturned on I-95.
Again?
Most of the bees were contained. Okay, go for it,
Blueberry
Pat.
fields
forever.
That would have been good. Where were you at 4 a.m.? Getting stung again. Rounding up bees and getting stung again. Let's not do this. A load of pollinators fell out the truck's back end. And I'm singing a song that I have sung again.
Bob and Tom in the morning and highlights all day long.
Bob and Tom, mornings. This is 97.5 and 1240 KFH.
Laugh out loud funny. Bob and Tom. Mornings on 97.5 and 1240 KFH.
Dude, you gotta hear this.
Go ahead. I think I want to hear this. Sports Daily is on KFH.
All right, welcome back, everybody. Sports Daily here. Paul, I'm looking at this. We got the Royals tonight. You've got Lugo and you've got Ober. Jacob Albracht, Paul Savage here with you on this Wednesday. The Royals are getting plus money with Lugo on the mound. Call me a sucker. I'm in. They're plus 110 on the road tonight in a game that's looming pretty large for them. But man, I gotta take Lugo with plus money here. I'm gonna get on the Royals there for sure.
Are you plus with your Royals bets? Are you on the plus side with Royals? Are you breaking even? Where are you at? I'm just curious because I know you love following the Royals.
That's a good question. I'm up on baseball for the entirety
generally
of the year.
Speaking. Okay.
Yes. But most of the time, and I'll take this one straight up. I'm just going to make that a straight bet. But, I've been tossing them in with parlays. There was a really good stretch of like a week or 2 weeks or something like that where I kept putting the Royals, the Rangers, and the Mariners together, and it kept going. Like it was hitting and hitting and hitting. That put me way up in baseball. So I'm not 100% sure on Royals specifically how on I've been, but I will tell you in general terms, most people are making money on the Royals. Now that is leveling out, but Paul, while they're on a streak and while they're getting out to this kind of start, you could get good money on the Royals for a while through this part of the season. Now that's correcting itself. I can't believe that you're getting plus money with Lugo tonight. Bailey Ober's fine, but he's not some overwhelming pitcher. So I don't know. I'm going to take it though for sure. I'm in on the Royals tonight at plus money. They've got to have it, Paul. Could you imagine? It's going to be pretty deflating if they don't win this game tonight with Lugo on the mound and it becomes now a 4-game losing streak and you've lost the first 3 games of this series to the Twins and you got to turn right around and play day baseball tomorrow. This is what you need Lugo to do as this ace, as this Cy Young candidate, is to be the stopper. You have got to stop the bleeding here. They could come out of this. They could come out of this thing in Minnesota. Could essentially, they'd be a game back of the Royals.
Oh, they would be
if the Royals drop
if
the
they
next
drop
two.
the next 2. That's correct.
And hey, man, you can't let that happen if you're Kansas City. They gotta have it. They gotta have it.
Well, and not only that, you got to keep them at bay. And you brought up earlier, the Royals haven't even played the Indians. The Indians are one of the better teams in all of baseball at this point.
Guardians.
I'm sorry. Well, that was a Freudian slip, my friend. That's a lifetime of saying Indians, but Guardians. The Guardians are a good baseball team. They're one of the best baseball teams record-wise in the entire in all Major League. So with that being said, you can't set a precedence, and even though as good as we think the Minnesota Twins will be when we get down the stretch, you can't allow the Twins to get these kind of games going into the Guardians. So, and it's going to be a huge series. When by the way, you got it in front of you. I don't have it in front of me. When does that series start with the Guardians?
It is not the next one after this Twin series. They'll go to back home to play San Diego, and then they go to Cleveland. So it'll start next Tuesday.
Okay, good. Well, and that's going to be a huge series. And we will probably be breaking that series down moment by moment, game by game for the whole week, as long as they're playing. It's going to be a huge series, and it'll be interesting to see. And I think it'll be a great indication just where the Royals are. We know they're a good baseball team. My gosh, they've convinced me. They've convinced you. I think they've convinced Royals Nation overall. So it's going to be a fun series. That's going to be one that we're really looking forward. And we're talking June, early June. We're looking forward to a big series in June. How great is that? Max is laughing. Max is laughing right now.
What are you laughing at, Max?
Yeah, Max, what the heck are you laughing at?
I love when Paul gets excited about early season in June.
There you go. Well, it is. It's going to be fun. They haven't played yet. And the Guardians, it's going to be a big series.
You just got to remember
I love you to death, Max.
The scheduling has changed. So these games do have a little more emphasis than maybe they have in the past.
Right.
You don't get all the opportunities heads up against these teams. And so you got to take advantage when you've got them. We're in a season now where it's going to be June before the Royals play the Guardians, right? And you just don't get as many opportunities, so you can't waste them when you've got them, which puts further emphasis on the urgency of this game tonight. The other thing, how much have you paid attention to? I don't know, Paul. I've never asked you this. The other thing going this afternoon in baseball, kind of all eyes are on is Paul Skeens Have you been up to speed with Skeens?
No, bring me up
for the Pirates.
No. Bring me up to date.
He is widely considered probably the best pitching prospect. He was drafted last year since Steven Strasburg, and he's had, I don't want to say a roller coaster. He's had some of the most eye-popping minor league stats in the very brief time he spent in the minor leagues anyway. So he's up now, striking a ton of people out, throws it harder than anybody throws it.
I'm with you.
He pitches
I know what you're
today.
talking about. I know what you're talking about.
He pitches today, against the Tigers,
Mhm.
which the Tigers are an interesting team. They're sort of, they're a team I think still to watch, just a game under 500. I think they are on the come, but I don't know if it'll be this year for them. Of course, in the same division we're talking about here in that AL Central, which has been really good outside of the White Sox, which, everybody saw coming, right? No, nobody saw it coming. But Skeens will be on the mound against the Tigers.
Right.
Certainly got some attention there. I'm just trying to look at, as we're talking a little bets here. His right now, I thought it was supposed to be Skeens. Did they make a pitching change? Well, maybe it's Jones now. I'm a little confused by myself because I was just trying to look up Skeens' strikeout number. Because earlier today, I gotta check into that. Earlier today, it was at like 8.5 for a young pitcher like that, which is just wild. So anyway, he's going today. If you haven't seen him pitch, he's pretty fun. Oh, they've got it. That's what it is. They've got a doubleheader today. They've got another good young pitcher named Jones. That's why I'm a little confused. So you get 2 for them, for the Pirates and their young pitchers. All right, let's take a quick break. We'll come back. We'll tell you about the timing of that Royals game and get you ready for the rest of the day when we return on Sports Daily.
You hear it all over TV and the radio. Now is a great time to have some gold. Gold values are increasing steadily and have for many years. However, the gold prices at Mike Seltzer Jewelers have been slashed by 50%. Yep, we are offering up almost everything in the store at half price. This includes gold rings, earrings, bracelets, necklaces, brooches, you name it, in white or yellow gold. But the savings don't stop there. Silver, platinum, and all gemstones are also marked down 50%. The savings are enormous, but they won't last long. So hurry into Mike Seltzer Jewelers today and save 50%. If you have something in mind you don't see in the store, we will custom design it for you, and you can still take advantage of 50% savings. Half off. It's a big deal. Now is the time to shop at Mike Seltzer Jewelers, and right now you can save 50% off almost everything in the store. Mike Seltzer Jewelers, 2929 North Rock Road in the Coma Terra Center.
Hi, I'm Trey Bossa with Market Medicare Advisors here in Wichita. I'm excited to announce I'm hosting a brand new show, Health in Retirement. Our team of health insurance advisors will educate you on healthcare pricing, exercise and fitness, and news updates in an easygoing and fun conversation. Go to healthandretirement.com to watch the show and submit questions you want us to answer. Health and Retirement, golden advice for your golden years.
Investment advisory services are offered through Foundations Investment Advisors, LLC, an SEC-registered investment advisor, not connected with or endorsed by the U.S. government or the federal Medicare program.
At Tropical Smoothie Cafe, summer is our season. And we're kicking it off with a free 12-ounce Island Punch smoothie for National Flip Flop Day. Grab your flip-flops and head to your local cafe on May 29th from 2 to 7 p.m. Terms and conditions apply.
Taco Bell invites you to tune in this Friday for the live simulcast of the Riverfest Textron Aviation Opening Night Fireworks on 103.7 KEYN. Be sure to visit your nearest Taco Bell location or order in the app by downloading on TacoBell.com, bringing you all the sights and sounds of Riverfest fireworks. Tune in this Friday for the live simulcast of the Riverfest Textron Aviation Opening Night Fireworks on 103.7 KEYN. Taco Bell. Because sometimes you gotta live Moss.
When it's time for a brake job, go with a solution that delivers one of the smoothest and most quiet rides on the road. Napa Silent Guard brakes. Made with fiber-reinforced shims that eliminate noise for the life of the pad. Rubber-coated hardware for a better fit on 99.5% of vehicles. And quality design that meets and exceeds OE performance. Napa Silent Guard brakes deliver the stopping power and performance drivers demand in their vehicles. Available now at Napa locations nationwide.
With your choice of select sandwich, nugs, fries, and a drink, Wendy's $5 Biggie Bag is your go-to. Your nugget wingman. Your hot and crispy fry co-pilot.
Just like us. We're like the bag boys.
What?
Bag boys, what you gonna do? What you gonna do when we bring your food?
For a deal you can count on, bet on Biggie and choose wisely. Choose Wendy's.
Bag boys.
U.S. price and participation may vary. Includes choice of JVC or crispy chicken sandwich with 4-piece nugs, junior fry, and small soft drink. Third-party delivery pricing may be higher.
The KFH Studios, powered by Devon James Injury Lawyers. Call 888-8888.
That's 888-8888.
Major League Baseball last night, the Kansas City Royals visiting the Minnesota Twins, a place that has not been going well for the Royals lately. Kansas City couldn't get much offense going, only 5 hits, a 4-2 loss to the Twins, 15,000 at the game in Minneapolis. 3 straight losses now for the Royals, and they've lost 15 of their last 16 games at Target Field, visiting the Twins. The winning pitcher for the Twins, a guy we've seen pitch for the Wichita Wind Surge, Simeon Woods Richardson, now 2-0 on the season with a 2.7 earned run average, second in ERA among rookies in the American League. All right, the Royals will try it again tonight, visiting the Twins. Listen live at 6:30 right here on 97.5 and 1240 KFH. The starting pitcher tonight for the Royals is Seth Lugo. He's always worth a listen. He is 8-1 on the season with a 1.7 earned run average. The Royals visiting the Twins tonight, 6:30, right here on KFH. I'm Ted, the Sports Head.
Ladies and gentlemen, Bob and Tom.
As soon as I get that girl, I'm going to have a little video made of me making blueberry pancakes.
Oh, boy, can't
I'll
wait
have
for
you.
that.
Yuck.
How can you not like blueberry pancakes?
I find it incredibly easy. What about a muffin? No.
Like a blueberry muffin either?
Yeah, that would be. Yeah. Why would I like a muffin?
How about blueberry pie?
Well, now, I don't like blueberry pancakes, but if it's made into a muffin, now you got, what's wrong with you?
Bob and Tom in the morning and highlights all day long.
Bob and Tom, mornings. This is 97.5 and 1240 KFH.
Wichita's most listened to sports radio. 97.5 and 1240 KFH.
All right, that's it for us. Thanks for tuning in, everybody. Whether you're listening to us on the live stream, watching us on the video stream, you'll get Royals baseball. Gotta have it. Gotta have it. Lugo tonight. Plus money, by the way. That'll go at 6:40. You'll hear it right here on KFH. You can also listen on the Odyssey app. We appreciate it. We appreciate Max being in. Tommy will be back in tomorrow. Paul, thanks as always for popping by.
Enjoyed it, my friend. Have a good evening this evening.
That'll do it for us. For Max, for Paul, I'm Jacob. We'll see you tomorrow.